Friends, good morning. Today is 10th of January 2022, and I would like to make my presentation on accident and incident investigation with special attention on what I had observed in most of the accident and incident investigation. This is for the purpose of adding the stock knowledge of our friends in this industry, in this most noble profession, life-saving in construction, oil and gas, and industrial workplace. Now, before I'm going to proceed, if you like the contents of the presentation, please hit the like button. And if you would like to stay connected and be informed of new updates, new video in my YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. All right. Now, the accident and incident investigation, I think we should go into the definition first so that we can understand the foregoing slides. Now, accident is unwanted or unplanned event that resulted to a loss of some kind, while incident is unwanted or unplanned event which has potential to cause harm. Now, friends, for you to understand the difference of this, I would like to give you the brief points to understand the similarities. Both accident and incident are unwanted and or unplanned. Both are same. Nobody is planning, nobody wanting accident and incident on site. But the difference of this is the result, because accident resulted to a loss of some kind. Now, the degree of that loss, depending on how your company, how your organization, or how the client, the area having jurisdiction, to the extent of that loss, the volume, the quantity of that loss that you are going to qualify into accident. In accident, it resulted to a loss of some kind. Take note the word resulted to a loss of some kind. While incident, it is also unplanned and unwanted event. But here, take note of the line which has potential to cause harm, while accident resulted to a loss of some kind. All right. So that we can understand the difference of this. Now, how to conduct an accident investigation? All right. Now, there are suggested steps. Now, maybe your own organization had developed something of how to conduct a good accident and incident investigation so that you can respond, you can submit to the client to satisfy the requirements because it is in QCS. And perhaps maybe in the place where you are working today, there are also procedures that requires the contractor, the organization, once there is accident or an incident in your project, you have to investigate them. All right. How to conduct an accident investigation? First, you need to assess the injury because, of course, there are two injuries. One is reportable and the other one is non-reportable. What are the difference of the two classification of injuries? Now, there are injuries that can be treated by your nurse or first aider. And that treatment would suffice the recovery. And it can revert the condition. However, if by the assessment of the medical practitioner and the result of which is to recommend for further medical treatment, then that should be reported. There are, by the way, there are clients, my friend, take note that there are clients wherein requires the reporting of incident the moment it landed into the hospital. That is why if you are a safety practitioner listening to me today, you have to be very sure which injury that requires accident and incident report directly to the client. However, there are some injury in which once it is only treated by your medical facilities like the assigned nurse on site, it can be recorded but non-reportable. All right. However, the accident and incident investigation will not choose whether reportable or non-reportable injury. But to conduct an investigation is very, very important for your organization because the intention of conducting investigation is to know what went wrong and cure that wrong, revert that wrong by providing recommended control to prevent the reoccurrence. All right. Step 2, obtain medical treatment if necessary. All right. So, this presentation is purely focused on the advantage of the workers, for the advantage of the workers. Because the step 1, assess the injury. Step 2 is obtain medical treatment if necessary. Then interview injured employee and witnesses. All right. Now, in accident and incident investigation, my friend, take note that if you are the safety manager, do not be misled by any intervening circumstances during accident and incident investigation. You need to interview the injured person. If the person is already removed from the site and sent to hospital, wait until he comes. But you have to start interviewing the witnesses. Who are those witnesses? His buddy. B-U-D-D-Y. Alright. Co-worker. Then, his foreman or supervisor. Foreman or supervisor. Why? Because these are the people closer to him. They know the circumstances. Alright? When you go for an investigation, you can bring them into a room. Perhaps you need to give them the comfort and explain to them the objective of investigation. That this investigation will not reach to the police. However, it is only up to your project manager and the management to develop some procedures so that in the future, there will be no more injured person because you had entertained and delivered the recommended controls. So take note, when you conduct an investigation, it is not only going to site and do some talks, but at the same time, be objective. Take the statement of the witnesses. Interview them. If the injured is no longer available on site, then co-workers, buddy, or the foreman. And the site engineer as well. Now, step 4, observe accident scene and analyze the facts. Now, before it will get disturbed, you may take the photograph of every corner of the scene of the incident. For what purpose? Maybe due to the activity in the construction site, that might be changed, moved after the incident. Now here, you need to capture the distance of the generator from the structure, the distance of anything on site. Maybe you have the equipment, maybe you have confined space, maybe you have the ladder nearby, maybe you have the portable powered tools that causes the accident. Then capture those scene while it is undisturbed. Now, if somebody had come ahead of you and you notice that some of the foremen had taken the photograph, advise them to share it to you through WhatsApp. Now, friends, do not be too legal in accident and incident investigation. Do not think that the photo captured before your coming, just right after the incident, it won't serve the purpose because it is contaminated in terms of accident. Remove this from your mind because the purpose of accident and incident investigation, it will not go to the prosecution. Take note that the accident and incident investigation, it will not go to the prosecution. It is only for your organization to develop some controls to prevent reoccurrence. Now, next is file a worker compensation claim if it is within your rules and responsibility. Otherwise, have your workers represented by your human resource department. Then your human resource department will just ask you the things, the documents necessary, including the toolbox talk, the safety induction of that injured person, including the accident and incident investigation. Then follow up. To follow up what's the result? Where are we in the claims? Or perhaps follow up on maybe you need to follow up on the whereabouts of the injured person so that by doing so, you can monitor his well-being, whether he is still able to do the work, whether he can go back to the project, to the site, and join the activities in construction. These are the things. And at the same time, you will surely be informed or well aware of the condition of the accident, whether that event will cause an LTI or just a medical treatment case or a first aid case. Then step 7 is the corrective action. What do you mean by corrective action? Now, folks, accident and incident investigation will not end by the submission of accident investigation report. But the delivery, the fulfillment, the implementation of the recommended controls to prevent reoccurrence. Now, why accident investigation is required? The prime reason for an investigation of any industrial accident is to prevent the reoccurrence of that accident. This accident and incident investigation will offer the organization an opportunity to identify what went wrong and to formulate measures to prevent reoccurrence. Nobody, no other person can best offer the control to prevent reoccurrence, measures to prevent reoccurrence. No other entity can provide. Only the organization who is too honest enough to declare what went wrong. That is why the preliminary statement of the investigating officer is to give them the idea that the accident and incident investigation is not incriminating on their part. However, it is an opportunity for the organization that it will give you the opportunity to provide the recommended control. Now, take note, my friend, because of the word investigation, this might affect the understanding of our engineers. Maybe they are thinking that somebody will go to jail, that somebody will feel the retribution of the management. My friend, take note that the accident and incident investigation for occupational health and safety is totally different from that police investigation. Now, I will make a separate presentation on that note, but first, let me offer something of my observation in this case. Now, simply put the finding out of the causes of accident. Take note that there are two causes of accident, the immediate and the underlying cause. The immediate cause are the cause that actually causes the accident, while the underlying cause are usually failure on the part of the management by providing something, either equipment, material, tools, a competent person, or the training. Now, so the finding out of causes of accident is very helpful in controlling or eliminating such accident in the future. Now, why accident investigation is necessary? Accident investigation is the scientific and academic analysis of the facts that occurred during an accident. An investigation is conducted to identify the root cause huh, of an accident in an effort to make recommendations to take corrective actions to prevent the future occurrence of the same or similar event. Now, why accident investigation is necessary? This is about the whole organization to identify what went wrong. All right. Then, it gives you the opportunity to develop, to think what are the recommendations that would probably prevent the similar event. Now, what management failure could have contributed to an accident? There are six, let's say, um, listed probable causes of a management failure. Now, lack of proper information and training. Then, unsafe systems of work. Poorly maintained and unsuitable equipment. Poor planning and unclear responsibilities. And sixth one is poor supervision. I will hit you with my next video clip why there is a poor supervision. Now, friends, first of all, I would like to give you a brief of lack of proper information or training. Now here, the information and training is not workers' direct and sole responsibility. Because training, it has cost. Take note, training has cost. You need to inquire from the third party, the authorized and competent agency to deliver the type of training. Then there is a corresponding cost. That is why it is not workers' responsibility. Look, the title of this slide is what management failures, all right, could have contributed to an accident. This is not the injured person. This is not about the worker, but rather, this is about management. Now, lack of proper information or training. This training has cost and it should not be paid by the worker. All of the safety laws in every country, training should be paid, provided by the employer. Now, number two, unsafe systems of work. Now, the systems of work, if you are going to include, if you would like to include the RAMs, risk assessment, and your method statement, these are not developed by the workers themselves. These are developed by the competent engineer. It could be the technical department or the QA/QC. That systems of work is management. It starts from the selection of the right person to formulate the systems of work, the method statement, the procedures, and or the risk assessment. Now, the poorly maintained and unsuitable equipment. The maintenance of your equipment is not workers' obligation. Rather, it is management, because to hire a maintenance engineer, that is management requirement. All right. Now, poor planning. The planning on the stages, the delivery, the housekeeping, the clearing of the area, the delivery of the materials, the assigning of a competent team to do the either plastering, cutting of tiles, confined space activities, lifting operation, or whatever it is. The planning belongs to the construction engineers. Now, unclear responsibilities. This belongs to the top management. This belongs to the management of the construction or either the corporate to clearly identify its roles and responsibilities to the workers. Now, sixth is poor supervision. I would like to stretch. Please hold on. Watch the video of my observation on site as I move along in this profession. I usually encounter reasons from the team that they would like to that they would like to free themselves from any liability. These people, these supervisors, they do not want to be qualified as poor in terms of supervision. Nobody likes to be a supervisor that is too poor in their performance. Nobody wanted to be tagged as a lousy supervisor. However, there is usually a defense immediately. When you conduct an investigation, all of the responsible person will make their own piece, will make their own statement in a very defensive mode. This is the usual expectation. Every time I sit for an investigation, usually people will be very too defensive in their own responsibility. That is why the preliminary statement from the investigator is very much necessary. That the result of this investigation will not go to any incriminating circumstances to any of you, but only for the management. You have to remind them that the objective of this is only for the management, our team, to develop the best control to prevent reoccurrence. Now, and these underlying failures are the symptoms of failures of management control, which is the root cause of the majority of the accident. Now, friends, hold on, because I have another video clip as a matter of my reaction into one of the incident investigation which I had attended, that supervisor are making defense of themselves by telling this worker is working alone. That makes me upset because I have my own piece, I have my own statement that nobody is working alone in the construction site. Even in the planning and preliminary stage of the project, even in the program framing of the project, once the client will appoint a consultant, a supervising entity, no one is working alone. Once the worker, any worker, are all covered by supervision in terms of site supervisor or a foreman, then nobody is working alone. There are circumstances that we have to take good care in terms of preserving and protecting the workers' welfare. There may be unwanted or unsafe acts or unsafe condition in the workplace, but at least that degree of supervision should be there. They should fully understand the reason why they were hired, why we were hired in our discipline, and the function of this. How important is this to the workers? Hold on, because I have made a reaction on one investigation which I had attended. Thank you. Friends, good evening. The time is 7:45 in the evening of 9 January 2022. I would like to make a presentation pertaining to the conduct of accident and incident investigation. There are common defenses from our very own construction team that in one way or the other, they were able to develop this as a matter of making themselves free from any liabilities. And I visited the project last week purposely to know what went wrong. In all accident and incident investigation, everybody is trying to understand what are the reason behind why that failure resulted to injury, or perhaps sending one workforce into the hospital, either for a short-term or a long-term medical treatment. Because our interest, if the person is, if the injured person is sent to the hospital, at least it won't reach more than 24 hours in the hospital or medical facilities. Because if you do so, it will reach to that classification. Then if it reaches more than 3 days, more than 7 days, and more than 10 days from the first aid case to medical treatment case to restricted work case and DLTI, which eventually affect our performance. All right? So the point here is, whenever we have an accident, an incident investigation, whenever we have accident on site, we try to reduce the total number of hours in the hospital or in any medical facilities. Now, friends, I would like to inform you that when I called them during my visit, that was Thursday, I think. Thursday, I went there just to determine whether the injured person is still in the hospital, or if he was released from the hospital, what are the other further medical requirements for the person to regain his normal physical condition. All right. Now, I do not want to elaborate further on the degree of the injury. That was a minor injury. However, even if the injury, how minor it is, it requires the whole team to know what went wrong. Because if the cause of the incident is not yet identified, then there will be no recommended control. Take note of this. No management system that can zero in or that you can make a suitable recommendation to prevent reoccurrence if the reason, the cause, or the circumstances resulting to injury is not yet known. Now, in this case, when I discuss with the consultant, the safety engineer from the consultant, on the condition of the injured person, then is the injured person working under the main contractor or the subcontractor? When I was informed that the worker is employed by the subcontractor, I required the main contractor project manager and the project manager of the subcontractor, including the site engineer. So while waiting for the project manager to come, we had some sort of discussions along the meeting room, inside the meeting room. We are discussing on the circumstances. Then as soon as the project manager arrived into the meeting room, we started the discussion. And then I asked the site engineer to explain what happened, what went wrong, why the incident resulted to an injury. Then the site engineer immediately stated and informed us that the incident is due to a worker who is working alone. He said, Mr. Dennis, the guy is, he is an electrician, but in the absence of the power tool operator, he decided to do it by himself. So the person is working alone. Then I told him, no. Stop your statement from there. Then from there we have the exchange of words with intensity because he really wanted to reason out that the guy is working alone. Then I told him, no, you stop from there because I would like to make my discussion on this point. Then he said, no, please, even if you are coming from the client, you need to listen to us. I told him, yes, I will listen to you. But if you committed mistake in your statement, I will not allow you to continue and make your statement. Otherwise, if you have committed mistake, and you make another mistake and another mistake, then there will be more mistakes that I am going to correct. From the first mistake in your statement, please hold on, because I will correct you from there. I will not allow you to continue unless you have to listen that in this project, nobody is working alone. Either in principle or in practice, nobody in the construction site that is working alone. The word that this worker is working alone is only a matter of defense on the part of the supervisor. Is that correct? I asked him this question, point blank. Why I have to stop you? Because we know the plan, we know the program. The construction management program requires a supervision contract from the consultant. So that, I would like to inform you that before you come in, before this was signed by the main contractor, the client put it in the contract, put it in place in the construction program, that aside from the main contractor, since the design of the program is made by us, then the supervision is awarded to another entity. Therefore, nobody is working alone. Now, for example, your carpenter, there is a carpenter foreman. If he is an electrician, there is a foreman of electrician, of the team of electricians. Even you are the site engineer, you are not working alone. You are working, under you have foreman, and you are also under the project manager of the subcontractor. Even the whole subcontractor, even the project manager of the main contractor, somebody is working on top of them, watching them, supervising them, and that is the main contractor. And the main contractor are not alone, because they are supervised by the supervision. We call them consultant in the construction industry, especially in that project. All right? While we have some projects without supervising consultant, but in that particular project, no. The program put it verbatimly in the contract. We have the supervision. We have an entity responsible for the supervision of the construction activity. So definitely, nobody is working alone. I cut him from that point because I never expect a person of that age will make a very lousy defense, stating in front of the client that the injured person working under them is working alone. Then I was able to tell them, I have the opportunity of telling them, this is not the first time to face a contractor having an injured person and making as a matter of defense that the injured person is working alone. This is not the first time. And you are not the first person, you are not the first site engineer to use this as a matter of scapegoat, that you would like to avoid, distance yourself from the responsibility because that guy is working alone. No. There is no activity in the construction industry that is not covered by method statement. There is no activity in the construction industry that is not captured by risk assessment unless that risk assessment submitted and approved is not suitable and it is not even sufficient. But once the risk assessment, the method statement, your entire RAMs is suitable and sufficient, then no activity in the construction industry that is not covered by controls. And if there is a control recommended, there is a assigned person to supervise them. Nobody is working alone. I really exploded in the meeting when I heard the word, that guy is working alone. That was the preliminary statement that I asked from the subcontractors, what happened with this incident? I was just speaking my piece in a low tone because that was in the afternoon, and um, 30 minutes after it will be my off, and that's Thursday. Then I'm preparing for a rest, but passing through the project, sitting with him and hearing this is not only because I focus much on the protection of the workers in this event. So, hearing the incident that it resulted to further medical attention of the injured person, then I make my schedule despite of the numerous project I am supervising and managing. I allocated portion of my time to visit the project. And unexpectedly, I heard it from the mouth of a site engineer saying that the injured person, that the activity resulted to an injury and the injured person was sent to hospital because he is working alone. This is a very lousy defense on the part of the person who has responsibility over workers. This is not a very smart idea for any supervisor, any foreman, or any engineer saying that that guy was injured because he is working alone. Friends, you better find the smartest defense. But this is not one of them. You may develop your own technique, but one thing you have to put in mind, that the lives of our workers are at stake. The stories behind these workers reached to this country may be unknown to you. But when these people landed in this part of the world, remember that they bring not only one bag along with them. There is one invisible bag. There is one invisible baggage along with them that you and me cannot see what is inside. But this invisible bag contains their retirement plan. This contains the promise to their surviving parents back home that the moment they receive their first salary, they will continue the medical treatment and the medication of their surviving parents. This invisible bag is totally separate from the bag that we see them when they landed in the airport. These are the visible bag contains extra garments, t-shirts, pants, maybe shoes, and other material thing. But I'm talking of one bag that is invisible to all of us. That requires you and me to protect them in the construction site. These are the dreams and ambitions of our workers, that when they reach in this country, they promise with their loved ones, their siblings, their wife, their surviving parents, that one day I can contribute to resolve minor issues that we are facing in our family. Let's not exploit them, but rather love them. Let's not use the lousiest defense that this guy is working alone. Anybody working under your supervision, you have to take good care of them. Because our responsibility of protecting them will help them realize each and every month the salaries and wages, portion of that, the moment they send that to their home country, it gives joy and relief. I hope that this presentation will give us an idea that the common defense, which I consider not the smartest defense, because we need to ensure that the reason why an incident are taking place on site are a result. These are just result of the failures in terms of supervision and the controls that we put in place, either engineering, administrative, or other sort of control such as um, provision of personal protective equipment and improving their competency through fulfillment of the training plan for the project. Now, I will be discussing more into the improvement of competency, but for now, at least, I was able to deliver something that I hope no one will use that word, he is working on his own. He is working alone. That defense will not improve the management system, how we manage health and safety, how we protect our workers, because by adopting this defense, you are distancing yourself from the solution of the health and safety issues in your project. I hope it is fully understood. And just in case, if you like to make your comment and share your idea pertaining to this matter, you are free to do so. Just click the comment button. But before doing that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you and good evening.